Welcome, everyone. Today I want to show you something extremely powerful. Something very simple, but something that can completely transform the way you learn English. Many people believe that learning English requires many hours every day, expensive courses, or living in another country. They feel frustrated because they study grammar, memorize vocabulary, and watch many videos. But when the moment comes to speak, their mind becomes empty. They understand some English, but they cannot speak confidently. They pause, they hesitate, they feel nervous. And slowly they begin to think something very dangerous. Maybe English is not for me. But the truth is completely different. The problem is not your intelligence. The problem is not your memory. The problem is not your accent. The real problem is the method. Most people try to learn English in a complicated way. They study too many things at once. They open many books. They try many techniques. Their brain becomes confused. And because of this confusion, they lose motivation. But language learning does not need to be complicated. In fact, the human brain learns language through simple repetition, daily exposure, and small, consistent actions. That is why today I am going to show you a 30-minute daily English routine. Just 30 minutes. Not 5 hours. Not 3 hours. Just 30 focused minutes every day. If you practice these steps daily, something amazing will begin to happen. Little by little, your ears will start understanding English more clearly. Your brain will start thinking in English faster. Your mouth will begin forming English sentences naturally. And one day you will suddenly realize something incredible. English is no longer difficult for you. That is why I want you to listen to this video very carefully. Because every step I am going to share with you is simple, practical, and powerful. This is not theory. This is not complicated grammar. This is real training for your brain and your mouth. And if you follow this routine every day, I promise you something. Your English will not stay the same. 5 minutes. Train your ears, listening. Before you try to speak English, before you try to memorize many words, before you worry about grammar, there is one skill that must come first. That skill is listening. Listening is the foundation of every language. Think about how a baby learns language. A baby does not start by studying grammar books. A baby does not memorize vocabulary lists. Instead, the baby spends months simply listening. The baby listens to voices. The baby listens to sounds. The baby listens to conversations. Slowly, the brain begins recognizing patterns. Words start becoming familiar. Sounds start making sense. And only after many months of listening, the baby finally starts speaking. Language learning always begins with the ears. If your ears are not trained, your brain will always feel confused when you hear English. This is why the first 5 minutes of your daily routine should be listening practice. But here is something very important. Many learners make a mistake during listening practice. They try to understand every single word. When they cannot understand something, they become frustrated. They pause the video. They rewind. They repeat again and again. And finally, they feel tired. But listening training does not work like that. The goal of listening is not perfect understanding. The goal is familiarity. You are teaching your brain to become comfortable with the sound of English. Think of it like learning music. The first time someone hears a new song, it might feel unfamiliar. But after hearing the song many times, the brain begins to recognize the rhythm and melody. Language works exactly the same way. The more English your ears hear, the more natural English becomes. So during these 5 minutes, choose simple English audio. For example, you can listen to a short English story, a podcast for learners, a simple conversation, an English video where people speak clearly. The most important thing is clarity and simplicity. You do not need fast English. You do not need complicated English. You need clear and understandable English. Now here is the correct way to practice during these 5 minutes. First, start the audio or video and simply listen. Do not pause. Do not worry about unknown words. Do not translate everything in your mind. Just listen. Let the sound flow into your ears. Your brain is collecting information even when you do not realize it. After listening once, you can listen again. The second time, your brain will understand more. This is because the brain loves repetition. Every time you hear the same sentence again, your brain becomes more comfortable with it. Over time, your ears begin recognizing pronunciation patterns. For example, you start noticing how words connect together, how sentences rise and fall, how native speakers pronounce certain sounds. These details are extremely important because speaking is not only about vocabulary. It is also about sound and rhythm. When your ears understand the rhythm of English, your mouth will naturally begin copying it. This is why listening is such a powerful exercise. It trains your brain quietly, gently, and naturally. You might feel that nothing is happening in the beginning, but inside your brain, something very powerful is happening. Your brain is building a library of English sounds. Every sentence you hear becomes another piece of that library. And one day, when you start speaking, your brain will use those stored sounds to create sentences automatically. This is why people who listen to English regularly begin speaking more naturally. Their brain already knows how English should sound. That is the secret. Listening is not passive. Listening is brain training. And 5 minutes every day might seem small, but small daily actions create massive results over time. If you listen to English for just 5 minutes every day, that becomes 35 minutes every week, more than 2 hours every month, more than 24 hours every year. That is 24 hours of pure listening training. Now imagine if you truly focus during those 5 minutes every day. Your ears will become sharper. Your understanding will improve. And slowly, English will stop sounding like a foreign language. It will start sounding familiar. And that is the moment when real progress begins. So remember this simple rule. Before you train your mouth to speak English, you must train your ears to hear English. Your ears are the gateway to fluency. And this simple 5-minute habit can begin changing your English faster than you ever expected. 5 minutes. Read out loud. The step is read out loud. Not reading silently. Not reading in your mind, but reading with your voice. Many English learners read a lot. They read books, articles, captions, and subtitles. But they read everything inside their mind. Their eyes move across the words. Their brain understands the meaning, but their mouth never practices speaking those words. And because of this, something strange happens. Their brain knows English, but their mouth cannot speak English. When they try to speak, their mouth feels slow. Words feel difficult. Sentences do not come out smoothly. Why does this happen? Because speaking is a physical skill. Just like playing a musical instrument, speaking requires muscle training. Your tongue moves. Your lips move. Your jaw moves. Your breathing changes. Your mouth is actually doing physical work. If you never train those muscles, your mouth will never become comfortable speaking English. That is why reading out loud is so powerful. When you read aloud, three important things happen at the same time. First, your eyes see the words. Second, your brain processes the meaning. Third, your mouth produces the sound. This creates a powerful connection between reading, thinking, and speaking. Your brain begins to learn how English looks, sounds, and feels at the same time. And this is exactly how language becomes natural. Now let us talk about how to do this exercise correctly. During these 5 minutes, choose a short and simple English paragraph. It could be a short story, a small article, a paragraph from a book, a script from a video, or even a page from something you enjoy reading. The important thing is that the language should be clear and not extremely difficult. You are not trying to challenge your brain with complicated vocabulary. You are training your mouth to move comfortably in English. Now when you start reading, do something very important. Read slowly. Many learners think they should read fast to sound fluent. But speed is not the goal in the beginning. Clarity is the goal. When you read slowly, your mouth has time to form the sounds properly. Your brain has time to understand the structure of the sentence. Slow reading builds strong foundations. So begin reading your paragraph clearly and slowly. For example, imagine you are reading a sentence like this. Success is built through small daily actions. Do not rush. Say it clearly. Success is built through small daily actions. Feel every word. Feel how your mouth moves. Feel how your tongue touches different parts of your mouth. This awareness is extremely powerful. You are teaching your mouth how English feels when spoken. Now here is another important thing. Do not worry about having a perfect accent. Many learners become nervous about pronunciation. They think their accent must sound exactly like a native speaker. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is comfort and clarity. When you practice reading aloud daily, your pronunciation will naturally improve over time. Your brain will start recognizing correct sound patterns. Your mouth will slowly become more flexible. And your confidence will grow. Now let us talk about another powerful benefit of reading aloud. It helps remove the fear of speaking. Many learners are afraid to speak English in front of people. Their heart beats faster. Their mind becomes blank. They worry about making mistakes. But when you read aloud every day, your mouth becomes used to producing English sentences. Your brain stops feeling that English speaking is something strange or uncomfortable. It begins to feel normal. Think about this carefully. If your mouth practices English every single day, even for 5 minutes, speaking English will slowly stop feeling scary. Your brain will say, "This is something I do every day. This is normal." That simple change in your mind is extremely powerful. Now here is another powerful technique you can add. Read the same paragraph 2 or 3 times. The first time you read it, focus on understanding the sentence. The second time, focus on clear pronunciation. The third time, try to read it more naturally and smoothly. Each repetition makes the sentence easier for your brain. Repetition is the secret weapon of language learning. Every time you repeat something, your brain strengthens the neural connection related to that sentence. It becomes easier and faster. Now imagine doing this for 5 minutes every day. 5 minutes might look small, but consistency changes everything. 5 minutes every day becomes 35 minutes every week. more than 2 hours every month, more than 24 hours of speaking practice every year. And remember something important. Many learners spend years studying English, but they almost never speak it. But if you read aloud daily, your mouth is speaking English every single day. That means your speaking muscles are getting stronger every day. Your pronunciation is improving every day. Your confidence is growing every day. And slowly, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop translating sentences in your mind. Instead, you start feeling the flow of English. Sentences begin to sound natural. Your brain begins recognizing patterns like how English sentences are built, how ideas connect, how words flow together. This is the beginning of real fluency. Fluency does not come from memorizing thousands of words. Fluency comes from daily interaction with the language. And reading aloud is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to create that interaction. If you want your brain to know English, you must read. But if you want your mouth to speak English, you must read out loud. Just 5 minutes every day. Clear voice, slow reading, daily repetition. These small actions may look simple, but they are building something extremely powerful inside you. A stronger voice, a more confident mind, and a future where English speaking becomes natural for you. And when you combine this step with the other steps of this routine, you are not just learning English. You are training your brain, your ears, and your mouth together. That is how real transformation happens. 5 minutes. Learn vocabulary in context. Without words, you cannot express ideas. Without words, you cannot describe feelings. Without words, you cannot communicate clearly. But here is something very interesting. Most English learners learn vocabulary in the wrong way. They open a notebook. They write a long list of words. They try to memorize 20, 30, sometimes even 50 words in one day. For example, they write opportunity, meaning, confidence, meaning, success, meaning, achieve, meaning. They repeat these words again and again. But after a few days, something frustrating happens. They forget most of the words. And even worse, when they try to speak English, those words do not come to their mind. Why does this happen? Because the brain does not remember words very well when they are isolated. The brain remembers words much better when they are connected to real sentences and real ideas. That is why this step is called Learn vocabulary in context. Context means the situation or sentence where the word is used. Instead of learning a word alone, you learn it inside a sentence. This simple change makes a huge difference. Let me show you why. Imagine you learn the word opportunity. If you only memorize the meaning, your brain might remember it for a short time, but it will not know how to use it naturally. But if you learn the word like this job is a great opportunity for my future. Now your brain understands much more. You understand how the word fits in a sentence, how the word sounds when spoken, how the word expresses a real idea. This is how vocabulary becomes alive in your brain. Now let us talk about how to practice this step during your 5 minutes. The goal is very simple. Do not try to learn many words. Instead, learn a few words deeply. In 5 minutes, choose 3 to 5 new words. That is enough. Learning fewer words deeply is far more powerful than learning many words quickly. Now when you choose a word, do 3 things. First, understand the meaning. Second, create a sentence using that word. Third, speak that sentence out loud. Imagine your word is improve. First, you understand the meaning. Improve means to make something better. Now create a sentence. I want to improve my English every day. Now read the sentence aloud. I want to improve my English every day. When you do this, something powerful happens. Your brain learns the meaning, the structure, and the sound at the same time. This creates a much stronger memory. Now here is another powerful trick. Try to connect the word to your own life. The brain remembers information much better when it is personal. If your word is goal, instead of creating a random sentence, say something real. My goal is to speak English confidently. Or, my goal is to become fluent in English this year. Now the word becomes connected to your life and emotions. This makes the memory much stronger. Your brain does not see it as just another word. Your brain sees it as something meaningful. And meaningful information stays longer in memory. Now let us talk about another mistake many learners make. They focus only on difficult vocabulary. They believe advanced words will make them sound intelligent. But fluency is not about using complicated words. Fluency is about using simple words naturally and quickly. Most conversations in English use simple vocabulary. Words like think, learn, try, build, create, change, understand. These words appear again and again in real conversations. If you master these types of words deeply, your English will become much more natural. Now imagine doing this step every day. 5 minutes. 3 to 5 new words. Every day your vocabulary grows a little. It may not feel dramatic in one day, but language learning is not about one day. It is about consistent growth over time. If you learn just 5 words every day, that becomes 35 words every week, more than 150 words every month, more than 1,800 words in 1 year. Think about that for a moment. Nearly 2,000 words in 1 year. And not just memorized words. Words you actually understand, pronounce, and use in sentences. That is how vocabulary becomes powerful. Now there is one more thing you can do to make this step even stronger. Review the words later in the day. For example, in the evening, you can quickly repeat the sentences you created earlier. Just speaking them again helps your brain reinforce the memory. Repetition is extremely important in language learning. Every time you repeat a word in a meaningful sentence, your brain strengthens the connection. Over time, the word becomes automatic. You will not need to search for it. It will appear naturally when you speak. And that is the real goal. The goal is not to know many words in theory. The goal is to have words ready in your mind when you need them. That is the difference between memorizing vocabulary and owning vocabulary. When you own a word, you can use it easily in conversation. You can understand it when you hear it. You can recognize it when you read it. It becomes part of your language. And that is exactly what this step is training your brain to do. So remember this powerful rule. Do not learn vocabulary like a dictionary. Learn vocabulary like a speaker. Words inside sentences. Words connected to your life. Words spoken out loud. When you practice vocabulary like this for just 5 minutes every day, something beautiful begins to happen. Your sentences become richer. Your thoughts become clearer. Your confidence begins to grow. And slowly your brain starts thinking in English instead of translating. That is the moment when English truly starts becoming your language. 5 minutes. Speak to yourself. This step is very simple, but it has the power to completely change the way you practice English. The step is called Speak to Yourself. At first, this idea might sound strange to some people. Many learners think speaking practice must always happen with another person, a teacher, a friend, or a partner. They believe that without another person, they cannot practice speaking. In fact, one of the biggest problems English learners face is waiting for the perfect speaking partner. They say, "I will practice when I find someone to speak with." But days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and they still do not practice speaking regularly. Why? Because the opportunity does not appear every day. But your English progress should never depend on someone else's availability. You need a method that allows you to practice speaking every single day, anytime, anywhere. And that method is speaking to yourself. Now listen carefully, because this step is extremely powerful. When you speak to yourself in English, you are training your brain to form sentences in real time. You are teaching your brain how to take ideas from your mind and express them using English words. This is exactly what happens during real conversations. When someone asks you a question, your brain must quickly organize words, build a sentence, and speak it out loud. If you never practice this process, your brain feels slow when speaking. That is why many learners say things like, "I understand English, but I cannot speak." The reason is simple. Understanding English and producing English are two different skills. Listening trains your ears. Reading trains your understanding. But speaking trains your brain to produce language. And that production skill needs daily practice. This is where speaking to yourself becomes incredibly useful. During these 5 minutes, you simply talk about something. It does not need to be complicated. You can speak about your day. You can speak about your plans. You can speak about your dreams. You can describe what you see around you. The topic does not matter. What matters is that your brain is actively creating English sentences. Let us look at a simple example. Imagine you start speaking about your morning. You might say, "Today, I woke up at 7 in the morning. I felt a little tired, but I decided to start my day with energy. After waking up, I drank a glass of water and checked my plans for the day." These sentences do not need to be perfect. They only need to be expressed. When you speak like this, something powerful happens inside your brain. Your brain begins building communication pathways. It learns how to connect thoughts with English words. And the more you practice this process, the faster it becomes. Now here is something very important to understand. Do not worry about mistakes during this exercise. Mistakes are not the enemy. In fact, mistakes are a natural part of language learning. When a child learns to speak their first language, they make thousands of mistakes. But they continue speaking. And because they continue speaking, their brain gradually improves. Language learning works exactly the same way for adults. The goal is not perfect grammar. The goal is clear communication. If you wait until your grammar is perfect before speaking, you might wait forever. But if you begin speaking now, your brain will slowly correct itself over time. This is why speaking to yourself is so powerful. It removes the fear of judgment. There is no teacher correcting you. There is no audience watching you. There is only you and your voice. And because of that, your mind feels relaxed. When the mind is relaxed, learning becomes faster. Now let us talk about another powerful benefit of this exercise. Speaking to yourself helps you discover your vocabulary gaps. Sometimes when you try to express an idea, you realize something. You know what you want to say, but you do not know the word. This moment is extremely valuable. It shows you exactly which vocabulary you need to learn. Imagine you want to say, "I cleaned my room," but suddenly you forget the word cleaned. Now your brain becomes curious. Later you can check the word and learn it. The next time you speak, that word becomes part of your vocabulary. This process helps your English grow naturally. Your vocabulary becomes connected to real communication needs. And that is much more powerful than memorizing random words. Now here is another useful idea. If you feel shy speaking loudly, you can start by speaking softly. The important thing is that your mouth is moving and your brain is forming sentences. Over time, your confidence will grow. Your voice will become stronger, and eventually speaking English will feel normal. You can also use simple prompts to help your speaking. You can answer questions like, "What did I do today? What are my goals this week? What did I learn today? What makes me happy? Where do I want to travel one day?" These questions give your brain ideas to talk about, and the more ideas you express, the more your speaking ability grows. Now imagine practicing this for 5 minutes every day. It might feel small at first, but 5 minutes daily becomes 35 minutes every week, more than 2 hours every month, more than 24 hours of speaking practice every year. And remember something important. Many learners study English for years without speaking regularly. But if you speak to yourself every day, your brain will receive consistent speaking training. That consistency changes everything. Slowly, your sentences will become longer. Your vocabulary will expand. Your thoughts will move faster in English. And one day you will notice something surprising. You will begin thinking in English without trying. Your brain will naturally organize ideas in English. This is one of the biggest signs that fluency is developing. And it begins with a very simple habit. Just 5 minutes. Talking to yourself. Training your brain. Building confidence. Creating English sentences every single day. These 5 minutes may look simple, but they are quietly transforming your ability to communicate. And when this step combines with listening, reading aloud, and vocabulary learning, your English system becomes very strong and balanced. Your ears understand. Your mouth speaks. Your brain thinks in English. That is how real fluency grows. 5 minutes. Shadowing practice. If you truly understand and practice this step daily, it can dramatically improve your pronunciation, speaking speed, rhythm, and confidence. Many English learners want to sound more natural when they speak. They want their sentences to flow smoothly. They want their pronunciation to become clearer. Most learners speak English only in their own way. They create sentences in their mind and say them slowly. Because of this, their speaking rhythm does not match natural English. This is where shadowing becomes extremely powerful. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it immediately, almost like an echo. You do not wait. You do not pause for a long time. You hear the sentence, and you repeat it right away. You are basically shadowing the speaker like a shadow follows a person. That is why this technique is called shadowing. Now let us understand why this method is so effective. When you listen to a native speaker, your brain receives information about the pronunciation of words, the rhythm of the sentence, the natural speed of speech, the way words connect together. But when you simply listen, your brain is passive. Shadowing changes this completely. When you repeat the sentence immediately, Your brain must process the sound and reproduce it instantly. This activates multiple skills at the same time: listening, speaking, pronunciation, memory, focus. Your brain becomes very active, and that activity creates very strong learning. Now let us see how to practice shadowing correctly during these 5 minutes. First, choose a short audio or video with clear English. This could be a short speech, a podcast for learners, a YouTube video where the speaker talks clearly, a short English story. The important thing is that the speaker's voice should be clear and not extremely fast. Now listen to the first sentence. Imagine the speaker says, "Success requires patience and consistent effort." As soon as you hear the sentence, repeat it immediately. Success requires patience and consistent effort. Try to copy the same tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. Do not worry if it is not perfect in the beginning. The goal is imitation. Think about how children learn language. Children copy what they hear. They imitate their parents' voices. Over time, their pronunciation becomes more natural because they are copying real speech. Shadowing works exactly the same way. You are training your mouth to imitate natural English sound patterns. Now here is something important. Do not focus only on individual words. Focus on the flow of the entire sentence. English is not spoken word by word like a robot. Words connect together. Native speakers often say, "want to" becomes "wanna." "Going to" becomes "gonna." "Did you" becomes "didja." These connections make English sound natural and smooth. Shadowing helps your brain recognize and reproduce these patterns. Another important tip is to practice with energy and attention. Do not repeat sentences lazily. Speak clearly and confidently. Even if you are practicing alone, speak as if you are communicating with someone. Your brain learns better when your voice is active and expressive. Now let us talk about repetition. During these 5 minutes, you can repeat the same sentence 2 or 3 times. For example, listen to the sentence. Repeat it once. Listen again. Repeat it again with better pronunciation. Each repetition improves your accuracy. Your mouth becomes more comfortable producing the sound. Your brain becomes more familiar with the sentence structure. Now imagine practicing shadowing every day. 5 minutes daily. It might not look like a huge effort, but consistency creates powerful results. Every day your pronunciation becomes a little clearer. Every day your speaking rhythm becomes a little smoother. Every day your confidence becomes a little stronger. After weeks of practice, you will notice something surprising. Your sentences will begin to flow more naturally. You will speak with better timing and rhythm. Your brain will start copying the patterns it has heard many times. That is how natural speech develops. Shadowing is also extremely powerful for improving listening speed. When you repeat sentences quickly, your brain learns to process English faster. Your reaction time becomes shorter. This helps you understand real conversations more easily. Now let us imagine what happens after several months of practicing shadowing. Your ears are trained through listening. Your mouth is trained through reading aloud. Your vocabulary is growing through contextual learning. Your brain is forming sentences through speaking practice. And shadowing is helping your pronunciation and rhythm become more natural. All these skills together create a complete English learning system. That is why this routine is so powerful. Each step supports the other. Listening trains your ears. Reading trains your mouth. Vocabulary trains your word bank. Speaking trains your communication ability, and shadowing trains your natural speaking rhythm. When these skills grow together, your English begins to change dramatically. And the most beautiful part is this: you are not studying English in a complicated way. You are practicing English in a natural way, just like the way language is meant to be learned. Small daily habits, clear repetition, focused practice. That is how fluency is built, not in one day, but day by day. And these 5 minutes of shadowing are quietly building something extremely powerful inside you. A stronger accent, a clearer voice, and a speaking style that sounds more natural every day. 5 minutes. Think in English. This is the step that helps English move from your notebook into your mind. This is the step that helps you stop depending on translation every second. And this step is called Think in English. This may sound small. It may sound simple. But do not underestimate it, because this habit can quietly change the entire way your brain uses English. Many learners spend months, even years, learning English words, grammar, and sentences. They listen, they read, they memorize, they repeat. But even after all of that, they still struggle when it is time to speak. Why? Because inside their mind, their process is still very slow. First, they think in their own language. Then, they try to translate that thought into English. Then they check if the grammar is correct. Then they worry if the sentence sounds strange. Then they become nervous. Then they stop. This is why so many learners say, "I know English, but I cannot speak fast." Or, "I understand English, but when I speak, I pause too much." The real problem is not always lack of vocabulary. The real problem is often this: their brain is still working through translation, and translation is slow, very slow. Imagine you want to say something simple like, "I am feeling tired today," but instead of thinking directly in English, your brain does this. First, it creates the thought in your own language. Then it searches for the English words. Then it checks the sentence. Then it sends the sentence to your mouth. That whole process takes time. And because it takes time, your speaking becomes slow, broken, and stressful. But fluent speakers do something different. They do not build every sentence through translation. They think more directly in English. Their thought and their English are connected much more closely. That is why their speech feels faster and more natural. And this is exactly what this final step helps you build. Thinking in English means using English inside your mind for small daily thoughts. It does not mean you must suddenly think about everything in deep, perfect English from today. No, that would be too difficult and too stressful. Thinking in English starts very small, very simple, very natural. It begins with tiny thoughts like, "I am hungry, I need water, this room is quiet, I have to finish my work. Today feels good, I need to wake up early tomorrow. I should practice English now, that was a nice video. I am feeling sleepy, I want to improve faster." These are small thoughts, but small thoughts are powerful because your daily life is full of small thoughts. From the moment you wake up until the moment you sleep, your mind is always talking, always describing, always reacting, always planning, always remembering, always judging, always imagining. Your mind is active all day. Now imagine something powerful. What if some of those daily thoughts started happening in English? Not all, just some. Then little by little, English would stop being only a study subject. It would start becoming part of your inner life. And that is the turning point. That is when the language starts entering your identity. This step is powerful because it trains your brain to create English naturally, without always depending on translation. When you think in English, you are doing private practice inside your own mind. No one can see it. No one can judge it. No one can interrupt it. And because of that, you can practice anytime. You can practice while brushing your teeth. You can practice while walking. You can practice while cooking. You can practice while sitting in a bus. You can practice while cleaning your room. You can practice before sleeping. You can practice the moment you wake up. That means this habit can go far beyond 5 minutes. The 5 minutes in this routine are only the starting point. But once you build this habit, it can begin following you through your whole day. And that is beautiful, because real fluency is not built only during study time. Real fluency grows when English begins to enter your normal daily life. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is this. They hear "think in English," and they try to force big, advanced thoughts immediately. For example, they try to think long, complicated paragraphs in English on day 1. Then they get tired, they get frustrated, they feel stupid, and they stop. Do not do that. Start small. Start with very easy thoughts. For example, when you wake up, think, "I need to get up now. I feel sleepy. Today, I want to do better. I need to wash my face." When you eat, think, "This food is hot. This tastes good. I need more water. I am eating too fast." When you go outside, think, "The weather is nice today. That car is very fast. The street is crowded. I need to walk carefully." When you study, think, "This lesson is helpful. I understand this part. This word is new for me. I need to repeat this again." These are simple thoughts, but they are real. And real thoughts are the best material for learning, because your brain remembers language better when it is connected to real life. This is very important. When you start thinking in English, do not stop every second to check grammar. Do not make your own mind a prison. Do not turn your thoughts into an exam. The goal is not to build perfect grammar in every mental sentence. The goal is to make English move inside your mind more freely. If your first inner thought is broken, that is okay. Maybe at first you think, "I go market later. It is not perfect." But it is still progress. Why? Because your brain is trying to use English. That matters. Then slowly, with more listening, reading, speaking, and repetition, your brain improves the sentence naturally. Later it becomes, "I will go to the market later." That is how growth happens. Not through fear, not through perfectionism, but through use. So please remember this clearly. Broken English in practice is better than perfect English that never comes out. That includes your inner thoughts too. Now let us make this practical. During these 5 minutes, do one simple exercise. Choose a part of your current life and think about it only in English. You can choose your morning routine, your room, your plans for today, what you did yesterday, what you are feeling right now, what you want in the future, what you are doing at this moment. Let us say you choose your current moment. You might think, "I am sitting and learning English right now. This lesson is very useful. I want to become fluent. Sometimes I feel slow, but I know I can improve. If I stay consistent, I will become better." This is excellent practice. Or maybe you choose your plans for tomorrow. You might think, "Tomorrow I want to wake up early. I need to finish my work. I also want to practice English for 30 minutes. I should stay focused and avoid wasting time." This is also powerful practice. You are not speaking aloud in this step. You are training your inner voice. You are teaching your mind to use English as a working language. And this matters more than many learners realize, because your outer speech is deeply connected to your inner speech. If your inner voice becomes stronger in English, your spoken English also becomes stronger. One of the easiest ways to build this habit is to describe what you see around you. This is simple and powerful. Look around your room and think. The bed is not clean. My phone is on the table. The light is too bright. This wall is white. I need to organize my books. My room looks better today. Now imagine doing this every day. Suddenly your environment becomes your English classroom. Your daily life becomes your English practice. Your room teaches you nouns. Your day teaches you verbs. Your emotions teach you feeling words. Your plans teach you future tense. Your memories teach you past tense. Everything around you becomes useful. That is one of the most beautiful things about thinking in English. It turns ordinary life into language training. This part is very powerful too. Many learners can say basic things in English, but they cannot express feelings easily. Thinking in English can help change that. When you feel something, name it in English. For example, I feel nervous. I feel calm today. I am disappointed. I feel motivated. I am confused. I feel proud of myself. I feel tired, but I want to continue. I am frustrated, but I will not quit. This kind of thinking is very deep and useful, because real language is not only about objects and actions. Real language is also about emotions. And when you learn to describe your emotions in English, your connection to the language becomes more personal and more real. English stops being just a tool for study. It starts becoming a tool for self-expression. That is when your fluency begins to feel alive. Another powerful exercise is to think about your goals in English. This is especially useful because your goals carry emotion, desire, and meaning. For example, think, I want to speak English confidently. I want to become more disciplined. I want to build a better future. I want to stop being afraid of mistakes. I want to sound clear when I speak. I want to become someone who never gives up. When you think about your future in English, your motivation and your language practice come together. That creates stronger memory. The brain remembers emotional language more deeply. So when English becomes connected to your dreams, progress becomes stronger. Let us talk clearly about the biggest benefit. Thinking in English helps your speaking become faster. Why? Because when you already think in English, your brain does not need to translate every sentence before speaking. The distance between thought and speech becomes smaller. That means less delay, less hesitation, less confusion, less fear. Your brain becomes more ready. This is one reason some learners suddenly feel a breakthrough after months of practice. They start saying things like, I do not know what happened, but now English comes faster. What happened? Their brain became more familiar with living in English. That is what this habit builds. Not instant magic, but gradual rewiring, quietly, deeply, powerfully. Be honest with yourself. In the beginning, thinking in English may feel slow and unnatural. You may not know enough words. You may feel mentally tired. You may keep falling back into your own language. That is normal. Very normal. Do not see that as failure. See it as training. When you go to the gym for the first time, your body feels weak. That does not mean exercise does not work. It means your body is adapting. The same is true here. Your brain is adapting to a new way of operating. That takes time. So be patient. Do not attack yourself. Do not say, I can't do this. Say, this feels difficult now, but my brain is learning. That mindset matters, because fluency is not built by people who never struggle. Fluency is built by people who keep going even when the struggle feels uncomfortable. If you want this step to become easier, use simple sentence patterns repeatedly. For example, I am, I feel, I need, I want, I like, I don't like, I have to, I should, I will. Today, tomorrow, I, yesterday, These patterns are extremely useful. Why? Because a huge part of daily life can be expressed through them. For example, I am tired, I feel hopeful, I need rest, I want progress, I like this lesson, I don't like wasting time, I have to stay focused, I should practice more, I will improve. Today I learned something useful. Tomorrow I will try again. Yesterday I felt discouraged. Simple patterns give you a structure, and structure reduces fear. Once you know a few strong patterns, your brain can create hundreds of useful thoughts. That is how simple English becomes powerful English. There is another reason this habit is so valuable. It makes you less dependent on outside help. A teacher can help you. A video can help you. A book can help you. But this habit gives you something special. It gives you private control over your growth. No matter where you are, you can practice. No matter how busy life becomes, you can practice. No matter whether you have a partner or not, you can practice. That makes your learning stronger. Because now your English progress is not always waiting for the perfect time, the perfect teacher, or the perfect situation. Now your mind itself becomes part of the training. That is powerful. Very powerful. Now let us look at the power of consistency again. 5 minutes may not sound like much, but if you truly practice thinking in English for 5 focused minutes every day, your brain begins changing. Daily repetition matters. One day of practice may feel small, but weeks of practice create familiarity. Months of practice create speed. And long-term practice creates identity. At first, English feels external. Then it feels familiar. Then it starts feeling natural. That is the journey. And this final step plays a huge role in that transformation. Now look at the full routine you have built. You trained your ears through listening. You trained your mouth through reading aloud. You trained your word bank through vocabulary and context. You trained your sentence-building ability through speaking to yourself. You trained your rhythm and pronunciation through shadowing. And now, through thinking in English, you are training your inner world. This is why this routine is so powerful. It does not train only one part of English. It trains the whole system. Your ears, your mouth, your memory, your confidence, your sentence flow, your inner voice. That is why this routine can create real change if you do it daily. Not because it is complicated, but because it is complete. Let me tell you something important. Fluency is not only about knowing English. Fluency is about becoming comfortable living through English. Hearing it, reading it, speaking it, using it, feeling it, thinking through it. That is the deeper shift. And this final habit helps create that shift. At first, you borrow English for study. Later, you begin using English for life. And that changes everything. So if you truly want to grow, do not ignore these steps. Do not say, it is only thinking. No, it is much more than that. It is the quiet bridge between study and fluency. It is the secret habit that teaches your brain to stop running back to translation every second. It is the habit that helps English enter your daily life, your decisions, your observations, your emotions, and your future. And once that starts happening, something beautiful begins to change. English stops feeling like a wall. It starts feeling like a path. English stops feeling like pressure. It starts feeling like possibility. English stops feeling like a subject you are chasing. It starts feeling like a voice you are building. So from today, do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait until you know every word. Do not wait until you feel completely ready. Start with one small thought, then another, then another. Say inside your mind, I can do this. I am improving. I am not too late. I will keep going. My English is growing every day. I may be slow today, but I will be stronger tomorrow. I will not give up on myself. Because this is how transformation really happens. Not in one dramatic moment, but in small daily moments that most people ignore. A few minutes of listening, a few minutes of reading, a few minutes of vocabulary, a few minutes of speaking, a few minutes of shadowing, a few minutes of thinking in English. And then one day, after all those small moments, you open your mouth, and the words come out more easily. You hear English, and it feels more familiar. You think about your day, and English begins to appear naturally. And that is when you realize your English did not change in one night. It changed because you changed your daily routine. That is the power of consistency. That is the power of small habits. And that is the power of refusing to quit. So keep practicing. Keep showing up. Keep believing. Because your English can improve more than you think. And the version of you who speaks with confidence, clarity, and freedom is not imaginary. That version of you is being built right now, minute by minute, habit by habit, day by day. And one day, you will look back at this simple routine and realize that these 30 minutes did not just improve your English. They changed your confidence. They changed your mindset. They changed the way you see yourself. And maybe in a very real way, they changed your life.